What's good? It's Casper. Today's video, I'm going to be talking about the movie Final Destination. Final Destination is a 2000 film. It's rated R and it's 1 hour and 38 minutes. Directed by James Wong. I did hear that the franchise in general, since there's so many, I don't know if they're following a certain storyline, but one thing about it is that I did hear that you could start from the third one, and that's basically how this whole world is beginning, is from the third one. So we're here in the first one right here. I'm already knowing it's gonna get better throughout the other movies, especially quality and a lot of the kills that we're gonna see. Getting started with this franchise, very excited to start this first one right here for just many reasons, especially just not really knowing how the first one really goes. So here it is, first Final Destination. Just finished it. While watching it, I'm just like, wow, just that era in general, they were really trying but just weren't as advanced. In this movie you do see a lot of green screen, you do see some special effects in the background. Overall, I did like the acting from everybody. There was some interesting actors in here that I thought was pretty funny to see, especially with Sean Scott, who plays Billy Hitchcock in this movie. He was one of those characters when he randomly showed up. I was just like, is he gonna be the goofball in this movie? Seeing him in this movie just brings me that era vibe with all the actors. It wasn't a movie that I got annoyed with seeing everyone act, but it was one of those things where you can see a lot of these actors are just trying to make things very high tense, and without the crazy kills that you're seeing that actually make your heart pump like crazy, these actors are actually trying. So there wasn't acting in this movie where it just kind of pissed you off on like, dang, that was cringy. A lot of the stuff I did kind of expect. The plot in general, thank goodness it wasn't like a boring one, because the beginning flow did like the introduction and the beginning flow of knowing that these kids are going on a trip, seeing it from that perspective and then the story just going along, honestly flowed pretty well. So cool little things I'm seeing in the beginning. I will say, seeing Tony Todd in this movie, man, that was like an emphasis thing about this whole movie, was seeing Tony Todd in here. The screen time in this movie for me, just seeing and getting familiar with his catalog and his whole style in general. Tony Todd in this movie, you could really see that he knew how to do it. That voice was an emphasis, the look was on point. The limited screen time was probably one of those moments that you can see while watching this movie that the other main actors can't really touch Tony Todd's vibe. It's gonna be interesting to see how Tony Todd ends up showing up in the other movies. That was something in this movie that really, you can tell with everyone in the background, producers, directors, everyone involved in this movie. Tony Todd was somebody that they knew when it got to that point of the movie that it was like probably the best part. Devon Sawa plays Alex in this movie. I'm not too familiar with his acting game, to be honest, but I actually seen a couple of his movies. Seen him in Hunter x Hunter, The Fanatic as well. In this movie, seen him at a young age. He, like I said, just gives out that Y2K vibe, straightforward. His acting did show that he was trying to like really pull that main actor role. I think he did hold it up to a good point. There is moments in here where he's showing emotion. The acting with the storyline is on point, especially him basically getting the most screen time and getting the most understanding through his character. He did a good job involving everyone, and while he's putting all the pieces together as well, kind of following along with his character. So that's one thing I do appreciate, is while an actor is doing their job on screen, the viewer can actually feel like they're on the ride with the main actor. So he did at times have that vibe. Everyone else in this movie, I think, do have believable and good choice roles. Casting did a good job on just choosing these people, and this movie still holds up for seeing the green screen, seeing a lot of the special effects on what they're doing, seeing the kills in here. I thought they did a good job on the build up with the kills. Very bloody, very cool anticipation moments. The movie did have me pretty antsy on moments on like, oh, how is this character gonna die? How is this gonna play out? There's a lot of stuff in this movie where I'm like, whoa, this is gonna get pretty crazy. And then when you see it, you're like, whoa, this is pretty intense. A good movie to basically keep you in your mind while watching the whole thing. Honestly gave me more excitement to see the other movies. Me watching just the buildups of every scenario about to get very intense. I do like how the set design and the way they didn't show the practical effects, the special effects, the green screen. I do like how while they're pacing with the camera direction, like you saw how a lot of the set design was made for an eye-appealing moment. Like you see explosions from light bulbs go off and you see houses blow up. You see a lot of stuff as well in this movie where You know, you can't really use a green screen and stuff, but them flying in the plane and stuff like that, obviously is a given. It's very obvious. As a viewer, I'm like, oh, at least they gave us something where, as a viewer for horror movies, you know, we can appreciate that at least they had a cool setup. This movie is grimy. This movie is definitely gory, a lot of blood. I think the direction on starting this franchise was pretty good. And the fact that some people are telling me this franchise starts from the third one, let's see how it really goes. To see how the second movie ends up playing out too. But really do like how a lot of these kills, a lot of these deaths in this movie is something where you're like, whoa, only the Final Destination franchise could probably pull this style off. Final Destination does have its vibe on its own. I don't think you're going to be disappointed watching the first one if you can sit down and watch that era vibe, especially in the horror genre. To each their own on starting on this one. I do want to start from the beginning, and I'll say good start. Shout out to the actors actually doing a pretty good job on making these deaths pretty believable. After my watching the movie Final Destination out of 10, I'm gonna have to give this movie a 7 out of 10. So that's my movie review for the movie Final Destination. Shout out to you guys for tuning into the video. Thank you guys for watching, and we'll see you guys on the next one. Peace, y'all.